in terms of creativity, what we know is that there are networks in the brain, many networks that are very, very precisely wired. The ability to move my hand in a very precise way develops, a baby can't, watching a baby eat when it's young, it's like food everywhere. And over time they get better, most people anyway. The circuits are very one-to-one. No slop in the circuitry. Likewise, if you already know how to do something like write or say your name, the circuits are like, they're nailed down. But the brain always maintains some random wiring. And it appears that when we are doing things like walking or showering, or when we're doing anything that doesn't require our conscious attention in order to perform it, the random firing occurs and it's setting up the opportunity for new rule sets for the frontal cortex, which is where all our rule sets exist, to come up with new ideas. It's almost like, imagine a painter, they've got their paints on the palette and they're painting, and then every once in a while, just by stopping and pausing, all of a sudden 20 new hues of red show up. And it's not that you would use all of them, but then you turn around and you go, oh, but you might take one and kind of elaborate and create something new with it. What's really interesting is that if we don't allow ourselves any time for the brain to be in this kind of random thought generation pattern, sleep and dreaming or emerging from sleep and dreaming is one such time. Maybe low dose cannabis is another time, which is why, or some people have a drink or two, which probably I'm not suggesting, but that is one way to kind of reduce our kind of constriction over what has to happen next. Or you're walking or showering. These random networks they're tossing up ideas, some of which probably suck and are terrible, but every once in a while, if you're in a position to catch it, it's like, oh, there it is. But if you're constantly on your phone or you're constantly trying to do linear type execution of things, or you're focusing on something, it's like the difference between driving home when you know which way to go, you can think of things while you drive.
Totally.
Versus when you have to follow a map, or you're looking at Google Maps, or you have to look at road signs and look for landmarks, completely different. Your brain is literally free to capture creative opportunities when you're in these kind of random thought states. So your creative process, your description of the creative process captures that to a T.
That's interesting. Yeah. And I do realize that it's happening when my brain isn't occupied. Like walking that neighborhood is like a thoughtless activity.
Right.
I don't have to
but then you need the reps, like this is what I think a lot of people starting off in a field, they're like, oh, you just be creative by not, by taking a lot of showers. But yeah, I'm guessing that the actual writing process and figuring out the structure of a show and stuff.
Getting on stage is actually the actual rep, because writing is just a part of performing as a stand-up. People do stand-up. A lot of times I meet people, they go, I have 45 minutes. I go, how do you have 45 minutes? They're like, I have these journals full of it. I was like, you don't have 45 minutes. You don't have 10 minutes. You've never been on stage.